Bored with your boring cardio? Stop pedaling that snooze cycle to Nowheresville and try some cardio that's actually fun. Supernatural Fitness, available on MetaQuest. Isn't that right, Jane Fonda?
Cardio will never be boring again.
Sweat to the beat of thousands of chart-topping songs inside stunning virtual landscapes.
Bet your stationary bike can't do that.
Visit GetSupernatural.com and join the next fitness revolution. Supernatural VR Fitness, only on MetaQuest. Rated Teen for Teen.
This episode is brought to you by Old El Paso. Does game day hosting feel like an extreme sport? Not anymore. With Old El Paso, feeding your hungry crowd is oh so easy. Old El Paso's crunchy stand-and stuffed shells, bold seasonings, and squeezable sauces are fumble-free, flavor-packed, and perfect for cheering on your team. Football season is taco season with Old El Paso. Level up your next tailgate or watch party. Shop game day essentials at oldelpaso.com.
Good afternoon, guys, and happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving. I'm delighted to have today's guests, Rob Rene, and I want to introduce Rob by posing this question. If life throws lemons at you, how are you going to make lemonade? And so Rob is the quintessential epitome example of creating lemonade out of lemons, and he uses a variety of methods and faith and personal development on his journey. He's going to share his powerful, inspirational story. Anybody can resonate with it and inspire the audience and add value. Rob, welcome.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We just had a very interesting intro. And so briefly talk about your story. I know you have a really fascinating story, just and very inspiring. So talk about that, and I'm excited to dive into the questions.
Sounds great. So my life starts early, right? When I was a young boy, I was an athlete and I loved athletics, but running became something that I was really good at just naturally. But then one of the things that transformed my life comes back into play recently was a book called Eat to Win. And that book was super important to me as a young runner because I was a distance runner. And as my friends were eating, or my competition was eating hot dogs and hamburgers, and I was eating really healthy meals that really gave me the energy at the end of a race. And I always had a good finish, and my competition got frustrated. Like, how does he always beat us at the end? And I attributed that just because I was fueling my body correctly, right? I was training well, and I think God gave me some natural talent, which obviously helped. But that book, I think, was really transformational part of my young running career. That's what I ended up wanting to do for a living. Is I'm really good at this. I won a national championship when I was young, and then I got a full ride running scholarship to a Division I school. And I'm like, man, this is my goal. Is I'm going to be a professional runner. And I just made the U.S. junior team. I was the second best miler in the country and won an international race with 5 different countries in it. And I was just like, man, this is great. The coaches thought I could be a professional runner, etc. And then I was out on a training run in Utah in the winter. It was really cold and snowy. It's a 10-mile run, and my buddy and I were out on that run, and all of a sudden my buddy jumps into the ditch and yells my name. And I just had enough time to turn around, and I see this 4x4 truck coming, and the 4x4 truck literally just slid right into my hip, and I had nowhere to go. I was like, I'm going to get hit, and it hit my hip and threw me 36 feet. So I landed straight on my face and then my knees, and it knocked me unconscious. So I'm freezing on the side of the road, not able to breathe because I had a bloody nose earlier in the run, and it clogged my throat. So I'm unconscious, my throat's clogged, and a really scary situation that I believe God has a plan for my life, because my friend noticed I wasn't breathing and unclogged my throat. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. So just little things like that. I was like, wow, there's definitely a reason why that happened to me. And I went through a really difficult time after that accident, because I'm like, man, this sucks. I'd been training my entire life up to that point to be a professional runner. Now here, my whole career and objective in life was just taken away from me. So I had a difficult time. I didn't do super great after that. I got depressed and I had lots of issues, but I did finish my degree, and I went into the corporate world and started a corporate job, and I did that for a long time. and to try to find my way, but I never had that satisfaction of where I was headed and what I was doing. And then I call it the second truck that hit me. But this one's more of a metaphorical truck. It's the same truck that hit you and the same truck that hit the whole world. It was this pandemic that happened just the last few years ago. And the reason why I call it that truck is because it had a similar effect on me. It was like, I'm doing my thing. I'm doing what the world tells you to do, right? You got to go to school and you got to get a job and you got to have 3 kids. You got to have a house with a white picket fence and you got to have a dog and you got to watch sports at night and on the weekends and you got to play video games because those are cool. And I was just not paying attention much to what's the world around me, what was going on. And when the pandemic hit, I lost my sales job and I'm like, oh gosh, because I couldn't travel. So that was like they downsized their sales team. And then I started just understanding what was going on in the world and I couldn't understand it. And one of the things that really frustrated me and that brought me back to that original book, remember that Eat to Win book? I'm like, hey, I was an athlete at one point, right? I was really great shape. I'm going to go help my family stay healthy just by making sure we eat correctly and get the right nutrients in. It'll help our immune systems to fight off this scary virus that was happening. So I started down that path and that really helped me. But then I saw the vilification of this one doctor who was talking about vitamin D. And I was like, vitamin D is like from the sun. How could that be bad? I knew it wasn't bad. So I'm like, well, why are they vilifying this guy? There's got to be a motive behind it. So I dug in and started I had time now. This is the first time in my life where I had actual time to dig in and do research on things that were important to me. And this was my family's survival was important to me. And I had time. So I started doing all this research. And when I saw that vilification of that doctor, I'm like, there's some weird thing going on. Why would they do that? And man, what I uncovered was life-changing for me in the respect that I dug into our health system and how literally in the early 1900s, it was taken over by the Rockefeller medicine. And it was like, whoa, that's incredible. Then you start seeing how that has transitioned and changed our health system over time. It's just, whoa, hold on, this is really scary and weird. And then I started going down rabbit holes of other areas and things that were what I was red pilled, right? The respect that, oh my gosh, now I can't unsee things anymore. And when I see things, I don't believe what anybody tells me. I got to go do research on my own on a topic. Like you might tell me that the sun is yellow and I'm going to say, well, it looks yellow, but let me go research, really do, because I don't trust anybody what they say anymore, because I felt I'd been lied to for 50 some years of my life when I started doing all this research and understanding what's going on in our world. So anyway, that transitioned my love for nutrition and like, how can I help people? I'm going to go create supplements. That was my grand answer. Is I think that the health system is not there for us. They're more for profit than they are for health. So that's what I started doing. I'm going to go find some solutions. And then I got introduced to this amazing scientist who's working on these quantum energy products. And I thought he was crazy. I'm like, what the heck? You're going to put this patch on me that has a frequency and it's going to do something that didn't make any sense to me. So guess what I did? I started doing research. I researched, oh my gosh, the body is made up of energy and it interacts with frequencies. And I started digging into that and understanding that actual intentions and can have a physical impact on external things. I don't know if Dr. Emoto, have you ever researched anything Dr. Emoto's ever done?
Not in particular, but continue.
No problem. He's just he's a Japanese scientist who did these studies on rice and on water. He's really famous for his water experiments where he would do these before and after pictures of people that had positive thoughts and positive intentions towards something and other things that didn't. And you could see the difference. And it was just fascinating. And how hundreds of other people have replicated his experiments to see that they literally speaking to something and it can have a physical impact on something else. And so I started understanding that, man, what I thought early was really strange and weird stuff isn't as weird as I thought, that God made our body so incredibly complex and wonderful that it does interact with frequencies, and frequencies aren't weird either. Frequencies are everywhere, right? Sound is a frequency, color is a frequency, our cell phones use frequencies, so then I'm like, okay, frequencies aren't weird. So then all of a sudden that patch that I thought was weird wasn't as weird. And then I started using it and helping people with it. One of our marquee products is a pain relief product that really helps people with pain, and it's 100% drug free. So that's really a cool product and thing. And that just got me excited about helping people. And then I got entered, the Lord led me to the kind of the ending part of my story is what I'm doing now. And I'm so excited and passionate about it, is that the Lord led me to this practitioner who had this molecular hydrogen blend that is doing amazing things for people, all naturally and healthy. And I was doing research on all the biohacking stuff that was going on, and saw people with the water bottles that were creating hydrogen. And I'm like, so I started doing research on hydrogen and how much benefit that was in the body. And I had, since that my awakening, I call it, I really had an amazing relationship with God, in the respect that I started getting into the Bible every day and started reading the Bible, and just became a really close relationship with him. And I really am trying to lean on that relationship for everything that I do. And so I go try to listen to him. And then when he tells me to do stuff, I really try to follow that. And it's been amazing ever since I started trying to do that, in the respect that he just keeps leading me to the right people at the right place at the right time. And it's just so fascinating, because one of the things, I'd been doing research on the Bible, on a lot of the ingredients in the Bible. And there's really lots of superfoods and herbs in the Bible. And I was like, maybe there's some combination that would be just transformational in people's lives. So I kept doing research on it and trying to figure out things, but I couldn't find anything that was like super, super different than what was already out there. But when I met this practitioner who had the molecular hydrogen blend, and then I took my biblical ingredients I'd been researching, and we took the complementary ones to the molecular hydrogen, and we added 7 biblical ingredients to the molecular hydrogen blend, and we created this new brand and product called Exodus. And it's just, so the company's called Exodus Strong, but the product is called Exodus, and it's really a transformative health supplement that gives people all the energy they need for the day. But then if you look at what molecular hydrogen does inside the body, it has dramatic health benefits. So it's really helping people in a significant way. So I'm so excited to take that to the world, because I believe that all the trials and tribulations I've had in my entire life, every single thing was for a reason, right? I learned how to run to be a good athlete, and to learn how nutrition was so important to my body, right? Boom, I got in an accident. My life got transformed. I went into the corporate world, and I learned how to communicate with people. I learned how to sell. I was in sales for a long time, and then boom, right? That ended. And then it's like, oh my gosh, now what? Then he gave me the skill of research. He's okay, go learn how to research. So I started learning how to research different things. And then what's transpired is me putting all those together, right? You take the nutrients, you take finding a product that people are going to want and love, and you put them together in a solution that's really going to help people. And I believe that's what we've done. So it's been a fascinating journey.
Bored with your boring cardio? Stop pedaling that snooze cycle to nowheresville and try some cardio that's actually fun. Supernatural fitness, available on MetaQuest. Isn't that right, Jane Fonda?
Cardio will never be boring again.
Sweat to the beat of thousands of chart-topping songs inside stunning virtual landscapes.
Bet your stationary bike can't do that.
Visit GetSupernatural.com and join the next fitness revolution. Supernatural VR Fitness, only on MetaQuest. Rated T for Teen.
This episode is brought to you by Old El Paso. Does game day hosting feel like an extreme sport? Not anymore. With Old El Paso, feeding your hungry crowd is oh so easy. Old El Paso's crunchy stand-and stuffed shells, bold seasonings, and squeezable sauces are fumble-free, flavor-packed, and perfect for cheering on your team. Football season is taco season with Old El Paso. Level up your next tailgate or watch party. Shop game day essentials at oldelpaso.com.
Yeah, and we may have you have for further part 2, but I want to ask is your journey. And it seems one thing is what I've noticed is friends and colleagues that are very superficial, like they're the ones that enjoy like great success, but haven't had much like trials and tribulation. They have the just storybook lives that you were describing, and
right.
But then I encounter like individuals such as yourself and me as well. And it's just like, does the world play favorites? And one thing growing up that I've always wondered is, because I never fit in or anything, and it's like, is why do bad things happen to good people, and why does life continually let the bad people prosper and succeed? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's just a misnomer. I do believe that's always going to be the case. As us as human beings, we're always going to look at other people and say, hey, why not me? Why not? But if you really look at those individuals who you think on the outside have everything, on the inside, they don't. They're typically the most miserable people on the earth.
Right.
And me, and you don't see that. We see their beautiful car and their beautiful wife and their beautiful house and all the money they have. And we think that they're the happiest people in the world. And geez, why hasn't that happened to me? What did I do wrong? And what the reality is, those people are in that situation. They don't have, a lot of times, what I'm finding is they don't have a relationship with God. And they are depressed and they're frustrated. They have something missing. There's something in their life that's just, they keep struggling and finding material things to solve that desire. And the amazing thing is that people who found God and who have that relationship, they don't seek those other things because those aren't as important, right? Like yes, would it be great to have those? Maybe. But you know what? All those things also come with troubles, right? And issues. And so find people that have a relationship with God just they learn, and I think God teaches them that those desires aren't valuable, right? So you're not going to be able to take anything of those with you when you die. We're all going to die. So what's the point? Is the point to be happy here on earth? I think it is. And I think it's the Great Commission is to bring other people to God. I think that's where I am now so excited, because I'm trying to help people with their faith through their health. We have this amazing health solution, but we include a prayer guide that goes with it, right? Because I want people to pray. I want them to understand. They're like, why is this prayer guide coming with my bottle of Exodus? Like, why would you do that? Hey, I want you to literally pray about it. And then we have a reading plan that backs up the prayer guide. So then you can say, oh, I never knew that Bible verse existed. That's an interesting one. What does that mean? And then we go and explain the verse and how it came about and what it meant at the time, as well as how you can apply it to today's world, and just give them a little inkling that, oh my gosh, this amazing biblical book is a living word of God. And when you start having that people can transform their lives in an amazing way. So I really don't look at that anymore. Like you had mentioned, is that why do good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people? I think, you know what? God has a plan. He does have a plan for everybody. And it's not us to judge. And we sitting in our shoes don't know what the people how they're feeling in their shoes. And to be honest, the more and more that I learn and talk to counselors and priests and ministers and other people, they tell me that same story. Those people are no happier than you. In fact, most of them are more miserable than you, because you have found confidence in the love of God, and you don't need that, right? You don't need, and they're all desiring for something that's missing. And I think we can help them. That's my opinion.
Yeah, really fascinating. Yeah, it really brought to light a lot of, in the way that kind of view is also a form of victim thinking, and just it's not very empowering. So it's
right.
So
I'm definitely a glass half full guy. So I'm going to look at the world very positive and just, hey, you know what? Life is going to give you lemons, right? But man, guess what? Look at what happened to me. I had these amazing things going on in my life, and boom, gone. Everything gone. Had a great career going, boom, your career's gone. Everything's gone. And you know what? It's for us to look at that and say, what lesson did I learn? And then how can I be better from that? And right now, I'm probably in one of the last couple of years, the least financially stable I've ever been, but I'm the happiest I've ever been, because it's like I'm doing what God intended me to do, right? And so it's really satisfying in the respect that, you know what? I'll have what God wants me to have when He wants me to have it. And if he wants me to have, a mansion and cars and all these fun things, great. Then, maybe I'll get that. But I don't desire for that. I just desire now to help people, right? Let's people literally help people with their health. And when you're helping them with their health, they're going to be a much better person who can then also make an impact, right? Because if you do have a love for God and you're just really out of shape and you're unhealthy and you're sitting on the couch, you can't make an impact, right? So let's get people healthy and then let's get them out there to make an impact on the world. So that's my goal, is get people healthy so they can have a better impact on the kingdom. And I want to build a really big kingdom business, not to build a big kingdom business, but to have a bigger impact, right? Because I want to have a big impact on the world. I want to donate a ton of money to really awesome causes. And I want to really just help people and bring people into the faith. And they're like, why are you trying to bring people into faith? Because I believe that's the most important thing. But I think I can reach people through their health. I think that's the gift God has given me, is the understanding of how important our health is. And there's so many things we can do naturally and faithfully that's just so cool, right? That when you understand how your body works and you give your body what it needs, that your body can heal. He designed your body that way for it to heal. So, man, we can do things without big pharma drugs and without big pharma medicine, and we can heal people really naturally and faithfully. And then guess what? Then they can have an impact on the kingdom. So
It's interesting. And a follow-up question I have for you is, how do you develop faith? How do you develop faith in just the darkest moments? Because again, I'll bring what seems, when I've studied spirituality and just biblical principles, and it always comes down to this kind of, it's like you're on this path and it's so unconventional compared to like just the conventional world. And so how do you reconcile like your path with that of convention, and how do you balance it? Because you've had to go through these learnings and teachings so that you can contribute to the world. But do you ever feel like you're outside of commitment? I've always felt like I feel like I was born in a different person in a different time and just find my place. But how do you?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think we're all our own individual person in our own individual world, and we have our own individual experiences. What I think is from a faith perspective, it's all in an individual journey. I was born and raised as Episcopalian, and I had gotten christened when I was young, and we'd go to church on Sundays, but it was like I didn't think about church until next Sunday. As soon as the door hit me in the butt, I didn't think about church till the next Sunday. And it wasn't ever really an integral part of me. And it wasn't until I developed a relationship with God where it became real. Then when I have that relationship with him, then he started teaching me much more about the world and about myself and about the people around me, of how I can actually have an impact. Because people, like, you feel like you're on the outside, but guess what? You can have a personal relationship with God, and God can be your soulmate, right? He gives you the Holy Spirit, and you can work with him, you can talk with him, you can act, you can just be with him, and then he's going to lead you in the right areas in the right ways, and then you're going to start seeing things in a way that you never thought possible, and you're like, wow. And then he's going to bring the right people to you at the right time, at the right place, and things are going to start happening, and you're going to start seeing these little intuitions. You're going to say, you know what, maybe I should go talk to that person. Me, the old person, heck no. That person looks strange, they look weird, they look like they're struggling. I'm just going to keep walking. But then you get these little intuitions that the Holy Spirit is leading me to say, go talk to that person. Then you go talk to this person. You're like, why am I talking to this person? And they're like, pray for him. Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to pray for you. So you pray for this person, and guess what? All of a sudden that person goes, oh my gosh, I've never had anybody pray for me. Why are you praying for you? So then it's just really interesting things that God will lead you to, that you as your own mind, your own human mind, might not have thought of. But when you have that direct relationship with God, he'll be your partner, and he'll lead you in incredible ways, and you're going to find your life much more gratifying. Hey, you aren't weird. Everybody's weird. We're all different, right? We are all different human beings. And that's what I love about the just relationship with God. It doesn't matter what color you are. Doesn't matter what size you are. Doesn't matter what sex you are. Doesn't matter anything about you. We're all humans.
Mm.
right? And he made us wonderfully and fearfully. And so we all should work together.
Mm. Why do you think the universe or God or why do you think it uses tragedy? Why couldn't you have learned the same lessons through a less dramatic result? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think because lots of people have gone through really horrific things and really tragic things. But at the end of the day, I really do believe that he works out all things for our good. And I've been through tragedy. But if you look at an outsider looks at my life, they're like, man, that guy's had it made. They're like,
Mm,
he's got everything. But I
mm,
don't. But at the same point, when you look at somebody who's been through horrific tragedy, and guess what? Maybe on the outside of that, the reason why they went through that was so that then they could have a greater impact on the world because they went through that. And so when people listen to them, oh my gosh, that happened to you? Guess what? Maybe what happened to me isn't so bad, and maybe I can do better. So I think it's just a matter of degrees. And I believe that there are things that are horrible that happen, but I believe still at the end of the day, regardless, it's not our job to judge.
mm,
It's God's job is to judge people and other things. And so that's why I find myself being much more open with people and not as judgmental against other people, because it's really not my responsibility is to love. And you know what? They don't love me, fine. That's, but and I know that there's bad things that happen to people and it sucks. But I think there's typically a reason why. And
mm,
you don't see it when you're going through it for sure. You hate it, it sucks, everything is bad, and life is bad, and maybe the divorce is bad, maybe what all these things are bad. But then you get on the other side of it, and
mm.
guess what? You can start going back and looking and saying, I understand. So that's what I hope people can get to the other side. And when they get to the other side, they can learn from those and just be better people from what they've learned, and then help other people avoid what happened to you.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, and to round it out, how can people find you and follow you and reach out to you? And a very inspiring story and great conversation.
Yeah, thank you. It's been fun. It's Exodus Strong is my new brand, and that's what we're really focusing more of my attention on. So exodusstrong.com is this new brand, and we're really working hard to help people with their health, but then help them with their faith through their health. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me there. And I am working on a personal journey and things that I'm going through, that I will have social media accounts that'll be more interactive, that'll be out there. We do have all our social medias on Instagram and Facebook and others with Exodus Strong. And my other brand is called QE Strong, for Quantum Energy Strong. And that's amazing skin patch business, but we're putting a lot of time and effort into Exodus. We think that's the future, and it can help it can help millions of people.
Wow, really interesting and a really great conversation. And thank you so much. And keep up the wonderful work that you're doing.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Appreciate it.